The lobby was buzzing with quiet chatter and the clinking of coffee cups when she walked in, dressed simply, carrying nothing but a small handbag. She had saved for months to take this short vacation, hoping for a peaceful stay. But the moment she approached the front desk, the hotel manager's smile vanished. His eyes swept over her outfit, his tone turning sharp as he muttered something under his breath. Then, with a smirk, he called her a gold digger, loud enough for people around to hear. The sting of humiliation burned in her chest, but she said nothing. She simply stepped aside, her phone trembling in her hand as she made a call. Minutes later, black cars rolled up outside. Men in sharp suits stepped out, parting the crowd like a tide. And then came the man. Everyone in the city knew the billionaire hotel tycoon himself. He didn't waste time with pleasantries. He walked straight past the stunned guests, his gaze locked on the manager. What happened next would change the fate of the entire hotel chain and reveal a truth no one in that lobby saw coming. Because this wasn't just any guest, this was his daughter. And her father had just taken over everything. Gasps rippled through the lobby as whispers spread. No one had expected the owner of the entire luxury hotel chain to appear in person. The manager's confident smirk had completely vanished, replaced by a pale, uneasy stare. But her father didn't even look at him. His focus stayed on his daughter, its expression unreadable. She had never flaunted her family's wealth. In fact, most people who met her had no idea she was the only child of a man whose name was printed on skyscrapers. She preferred it that way. It allowed her to see who treated her for who she really was, not for her last name. But now, the truth was standing in the middle of the marble-floored lobby. It's impossible to hide. Her father asked her one quiet question, and she nodded. That was all it took. Within minutes, the atmosphere shifted. Executives from the corporate office were suddenly on the phone, employees frozen in place, and the manager's hands fidgeted nervously. Guests looked on, sensing something big was about to happen. But behind the calm, there was more to this moment than anyone knew. Because the insult at the front desk had stirred something far deeper, a history that was about to unravel in front of everyone. The manager's mind was racing, replaying every interaction he'd had with her since she stepped inside. He remembered how he'd judged her in seconds, her simple clothes, her lack of luggage, the way she hesitated before handing over her ID. He had assumed she was chasing a wealthy guest, just another person trying to get something for free. Now, that quick judgment was about to cost him more than his job. From across the lobby, a young concierge watched with wide eyes. She had seen the whole exchange and felt a pang of guilt. She'd wanted to step in to defend the guest, but fear of the manager's temper had kept her silent. Now, she wondered if her silence would come back to haunt her too. Meanwhile, the guests were split, some quietly taking the manager's side, assuming the billionaire's daughter was exaggerating, while others muttered about how unfairly she had been treated. Phones were out, cameras rolling, every second being captured. Her father stood still, speaking to no one, but his presence was enough to make the entire staff uneasy. What no one realized was that this wasn't just about one insult. It was about loyalty, trust, and a betrayal that had been building behind the scenes for months. The air in the lobby felt heavier with each passing second. Every whisper, every shuffle of feet seemed to echo off the high ceilings. Her father finally moved toward the front desk, his slow, deliberate steps making the manager flinch. The staff had frozen in place, their eyes darting between him and his daughter, as if waiting for a storm to hit. He placed a single sheet of paper on the counter. The hotel's crest glimmered in gold at the top, but the words beneath made the manager's knees weaken. Whatever it was official and final. Yet her father didn't raise his voice or cause a scene. His calm was somehow more intimidating than any outburst could have been. Across the room, the concierge felt her heart race. She knew there were deeper problems in this hotel, whispers of corruption. Guests treated differently based on appearances, and certain staff pocketing more than their share. She wondered if this moment was the start of all those secrets coming to light. The billionaire's daughter stood quietly, watching, her expression unreadable. She wasn't there for revenge, but something in her eyes hinted that the reckoning was far from over. And in just moments, the truth everyone feared would come crashing into the open. Just as the tension seemed ready to snap, a voice rang out from the far side of the lobby. A man in an expensive suit stepped forward, his face pale but determined. He wasn't part of the hotel staff, at least, not officially. Several employees exchanged uneasy glances. It was the regional director, someone rarely seen on the property, and the only person with authority to challenge the billionaire himself. He carried a folder thick with documents, his grip so tight the edges bent. Without a word, he placed it on the counter beside the paper the billionaire had brought. The pages inside revealed something unexpected: donorship contracts, partnership agreements, and a series of financial transfers that didn't make sense. The dates, the amounts, they hinted at something far bigger than a single manager's bad behavior. Her father's eyes narrowed, scanning the papers. His daughter noticed the faint twitch in his jaw. He had just found something he didn't like. The manager looked almost relieved, as if someone else might take the fall. But the relief faded fast when the regional director's gaze shifted to him with cold certainty. Whatever was in that folder wasn't just going to shake the hotel. It had the power to threaten the entire chain, and now everyone in the lobby was part of it. The billionaire's father opened the folder slowly, his eyes moving over each page with deliberate care. The room was so silent, even the hum of the lobby lights felt loud. Then he looked up, not at the manager, not at the regional director, but at his own daughter. "These aren't just mistakes," he said quietly, his voice carrying through the room. "They're theft. And it's been happening for years." Gasps broke out. The documents showed a chain of hidden accounts, money funneled away from the company into private pockets. The manager's name appeared more than once, but so did another: the regional director's. The manager's face drained of color, his earlier arrogance gone. The regional director stiffened, his jaw tightening as security moved in. In moments, both men were escorted out, the guests watching in stunned silence. Her father turned to her, handing her the final page-assigned transfer of authority. "It's yours now," he said. She looked at the paper, then at the lobby full of shocked faces. But before she could speak, a new voice came from behind. An elderly man stepped forward, leaning on a cane. "I think," he said, with a knowing smile, "you should know. I was the one who told her to come here." And just like that, another secret waited to be uncovered. All eyes turned to the elderly man. His presence seemed to quiet the room. Even further, he introduced himself as the hotel's retired founder, the very man who had once mentored her father. With a calm smile, he explained that he had heard rumors of corruption months ago, but needed someone he could trust to see it for themselves. That was why he'd encouraged her to book a stay, without telling her the full reason. Her father listened silently, then gave a small nod of understanding. It wasn't just chance that had brought her here, it was a test, and she had passed. The truth was now out, the guilty removed, and the hotel's reputation ready to be rebuilt. The concierge, who had watched in guilt earlier, approached her. "I'm sorry I didn't speak up," she admitted. The young woman simply smiled. Sometimes courage comes later. What matters is what we do now. By the next day, the hotel chain announced sweeping changes: new leadership, fair treatment for all guests, and a renewed commitment to its values. As she stood in the lobby one last time, she realized this trip had changed more than just a business. It had reminded everyone that respect is worth more than gold.